Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Florentin and this will be a quick review and summary of this book I recently just finished reading. The title is Pepe Romero, Dialogues on a Life's Journey with the Guitar, as told to Walter Aaron Clark. It looks like this. This is a hardcover copy. This book just came out literally a couple months ago. I actually placed an Amazon order before the book even came out, and it took a few months for the book to actually come to my doorstep, and I enjoyed reading this very much. This is the previous book about the same guitarist called Los Romeros. This is actually about the entire family, the Romeros. And I have a few videos on this book as well. I'll try to place some links at the bottom. I highly recommend both of these books. You don't have to read them in order. This is not a sequel of that. But they do kind of go together. Obviously, they're about the same family. This one is more focused on Pepe himself, though. So I'd like to do a quick review and summary. I forget how much I paid for this. It was in the mid-20s, maybe about $30. It is a hardcover book. And it's divided into 6 parts, 6 sections. A thing I like about this book, you don't have to read the chapters in order. You can actually skip around and you can use the table of contents to see topics that interest you. The 6 sections in the book are formation, guitar, concertizing, repertoire, connections, and loves. And each section has 2 or 3 chapters in it. So you can skip around if you want. I just picked a few of the questions. So the format of the book is questions and answers, where this gentleman, Walter Aaron Clark, asks specific questions of Pepe, and then Pepe answers them. So I picked a few of these questions. There's also a lot of really nice pictures throughout the book about different things and events that Pepe talks about. So one question I wanted to share with you on page 4. I'll just go quickly here. The question is, when and how did you fall in love with the guitar? And at what age did you decide to be a guitarist? And just a few lines of the answer. Having all this beautiful music in the background, I looked up to my father as if he were some sort of Superman. I thought he was the strongest man in the world and he could protect us from any and all dangers. He seemed to me incredibly loving and intelligent. Among my other earliest memories are when he would stop playing the guitar in order to rock me to sleep. Another question, say on page 8. I'm not reading the entire answer. I want you to read the book for yourself. So the question on page 8 at the bottom, at what age did you start to give concerts? And the answer is, I know that I played in the Teatro Lope de Vega in Seville when I was 7, but I don't have a very strong memory of that because the idea of playing concerts was something that was still a bit foreign to me. I would play for whoever wanted to listen, or if somebody asked me to play, I would play. If friends came to the house, I played for them. And he goes on with a few more lines for that question. I'll skip over to page 25. Let's see, the question is, a question about technique. And if you want to listen to somebody answer that question, Pepe would definitely be at the top of that list, for me anyways. So the question is, you are renowned for your virtuosic technique. I'm quite certain that if you can't play something, it's unplayable. How do you define or understand the term technique? Here's a few lines from his answer. Technique to me is the ability to make the music flow through you. I have always taken great care that a fast note leads as happy a life as a slow note, that it is as beautiful and as sonorous. In other words, you don't lose the essence of the music. I'm going to skip a few lines. So speed for me has been a byproduct of looking for substance in my playing. I've always said that if I went deaf, I would continue to play the guitar because I love the way that it feels, the sensory relationship that the strings have with my fingers, the guitar vibrating with my body, and the sensation that when I am holding the guitar, it and my body are like two pieces of a puzzle coming together. I'm going to skip over to page 29. I really enjoyed reading this book, that's for sure. Page 29. Oh, I play the Carcassi etudes, opus 60, I believe, the 25 Melodies etudes. So that's why I picked this question. This is on page 29. It says, of course, you're a big fan of the Carcassi 25 Melodies and Progressive Studies and the Giuliani 120 right-hand studies. And I do play both of those, and I did record a lot of those on my channel. You can look for them if you want. And Pepe says, I'm not a fan, I'm a fanatic. I'm also a fanatical devotee of Tariga's exercises. I use the version of them in my method book, La Guitarra, just as Scott Tennant did in his pumping nylon method, and Julio Sagreras did in his method. So I was glad to see that Pepe encourages players to play a repertoire like this, the Carcassi Opus 60. Some people consider them inferior for some reason. I've been playing them since high school, and I'm now 51, and every time I pick up my guitar, I'll play at least one of the etudes from that collection, as well as the Giuliani right-hand studies. I'll skip over to page 31. Here's a question on there about performance anxiety. Many players suffer from performance anxiety, even really good players. Do you ever get nervous before you perform? And if so, how does that affect your performance? Here's part of the answer. I think that everybody suffers from performance anxiety. It's impossible not to suffer from it. We all know how easy it is to forget something, how we become nervous about nerves themselves, and then about being judged. The way I have thought of nerves for myself is that music to me is like an alternative universe, and we have to transition into that universe. When I play a concert, we enter a different place, which is to say that anxiety is fear, and the antidote for fear is love, becoming aware of how passionately we feel about the music. That's a lengthier answer, which is really good and encouraging, coming from somebody like Pepe. I'm gonna skip over to page 32, which is kind of a similar question. It says, what is your relationship with the audience? Does it matter where you're playing or for how many people? Here's part of the answer. It doesn't matter to me where or for how many. Schedule a concert for me in the smallest village, in the most remote country where there have no music critics, and I will prepare exactly the same as if I were going to play in Carnegie Hall. So the audience is there to help the music come to its conclusion, and the people in the audience are my partners. And then he goes on for 2 or 3 paragraphs. I like that section a lot. I'm going to skip over a bunch of pages to maybe page 207. And this is the section titled Giving 100%. That's the name of the chapter. And here's the question. This was probably the most unexpected and the most moving section of the book for me. The question is, giving 100% implies that there are obstacles that you have overcome. What are some of those obstacles that you have had to overcome? And here's part of his answer. Dyslexia was a big obstacle, though I believe that every obstacle is a gift. Dyslexia made it very difficult for me to read. I had to go very slowly, which meant I had to be extra careful. I had to read everything 2 or 3 times to make sure that I had it right. I may not be able to sight read as fast as most people, but every obstacle comes with a gift, and every gift comes with an obstacle. It was very shocking and, in a weird way, very encouraging to read these words. Of course, it's disappointing to read that somebody like Pepe has dyslexia, the same way you read about somebody like Beethoven having hearing problems, right? But the way that he approaches it and the determination to overcome this obstacle was so inspiring for me. Because I would expect somebody that plays like Pepe to be the fastest sight reader in the world. I mean, if you think about the amount of recordings that he put out, the end of the book, the end of both books, actually, there's a lengthy list of recordings from Pepe and the family. And I would have imagined that somebody like that would be among the fastest sight readers in the world. And yet, I learned that he is someone that struggles with dyslexia. So it was very encouraging to see somebody like Pepe finding ways to overcome such a difficult obstacle. The last question that I'll go to is on page 212. And it's actually the last question in the book. And it says, are there any final thoughts you would like to share with your readers? And here's part of the answer. I have followed my destiny, with music as my companion. Yesterday, I was a child prodigy. Tomorrow, I will be a memory. But the music I have felt will be eternal. I believe that God created music so that we can find our true soul and come back to God. I further believe that luck is simply opportunity coming to those who are prepared to receive it. It's very important to put forth your best effort and then surrender it into the unknown. And then he goes on with a few more paragraphs. So I definitely recommend this book. It took me 2 or 3 days to read it because, again, it could be a very spotty type of reading. You don't have to go in order. I did go in order, and I did go back and reread some of the questions and answers, but you don't have to do that. You don't have to go in order. So I highly recommend both of these books, by and about Pepe Romero and the Romeros. I'll place Amazon links at the bottom if you want to take a look. Feel free. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I haven't made a video in a while. This summer has been very packed with our son's wedding and me finishing my doctorate degree. So I'm all done with that now. I'll hopefully have some more time to publish more videos. But I'm also back in school, back to work. The school year started. I am, for those of you that don't know, I'm a music teacher in the public school system. I teach general music and chorus in guitar class and piano class. And I'll be quite busy doing that. But since I'm done with my degree, I should have a little bit more time to publish more videos, hopefully. Thanks for watching this video. Give it a big thumbs up if you get a chance. Also, consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you very much for that. And don't forget to look for links for these 2 books at the bottom and take a look for yourself. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day.